This is one of those old familiar stories. This version from the New International Bible, John 4, chapter 4, verses 5 through 26. So he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from his journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone to town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Can you ask me for a drink?" For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." "Sir," the woman said, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did also his sons and his livestock?" Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." He told her, "Go call your husband and come back." I have no husband," she replied. Jesus said to her, "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you have had 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What you have just said is quite true." "Sir," the woman said, "I can see that you are a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain, but you Jews claim that the place where we must worship is Jerusalem." "Woman," Jesus replied, "believe me, a time is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know, for salvation is from the Jews. Yet a time is coming and has now come when the true worshipers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. God is Spirit, and his worshipers must worship in the Spirit and in truth." The woman said, "I know that Messiah, called Christ, is coming. When he comes, he will explain everything to us." Then Jesus declared, "I, the one speaking to you, I am he."
Try to picture this little story as I tell it. A couple, husband and wife, married many years, have a night out together. They go to a favorite restaurant. This evening feels like a chance to get close to each other again. After dinner, they drive home in a good mood. And the wife says, "That was wonderful. Just what we needed, don't you think so?" The husband answers, "Yes, it was." And then, as husbands do, as men do, he drifted off into his own thoughts, but still felt happy for the night. The wife says, "Hey, it's still early. Would you like to go get ice cream?" The husband thinks to himself, well, recently he's been trying to lose some weight. And he says to her, "Thanks, honey, but not tonight, okay?" She turns and stares out the windshield. They don't talk for the rest of the drive home. They arrive in the garage. The wife jumps out of the car, slams the door shut, stomps loudly from the garage and into the house. And the husband sits behind the steering wheel wondering why she is angry. What is this all about? And he goes to find her. Honey, we had such a great time tonight. Why are you upset? Did I do something wrong? Probably should be tattooed on the forearm of every husband. The wife turns to him and says, yes, you most certainly did do something wrong. Didn't you know that when I asked about going for ice cream, I asked you if you wanted ice cream? Yes, but you know I'm trying to lose weight, so I answered you honestly. Then she shouts, couldn't you figure out that when I asked if you wanted to go for ice cream, that meant I wanted to go for ice cream? I think the women in this place got the joke before the punchline came. Even when we use the same language, even when we know someone intimately, we can and often do misunderstand one another so easily. Think about the time when you were talking with a relative or a friend or a church member, and you were talking about one thing and the other person was talking about something totally different. Maybe you tried to share a problem, but the other person tells you about his or her problem. And it becomes a downward spiral that almost could be done in a parody saying, hey, I have cancer. Oh, I had a friend who had cancer once. She died. Ooh, ouch. So many ways to talk without communicating. Now think about this story from the Gospel of John, chapter 4. While crossing Samaria on the way back to Galilee, Jesus meets a Samaritan woman at an ancient well, known to them both as Jacob's well, because Jacob is an ancestor to both Jews and Samaritans. Jesus says, I'd like a drink of water. She says, you're a Jew. You and your people don't talk to women like me, Samaritans. Clearly, she wants to clear a few things up first before we get to the shared drink of water. And she's cautious with good reason. She doesn't know this man, just that he is a Jew, not one of her people. And what is he doing talking to her anyway? Well, yes, she has an agenda, even if it's just to be cautious and safe. But as usual, Jesus has his own agenda. She goes right to the differences between them. Jesus goes to how they can connect to one another. Yet she pushes against him again. Maybe she fears being humiliated. What does this stranger want? To make a fool of me? She says, you talk about giving me living water. You don't even have a bucket. Listen, mister, who do you think you are? Greater than our ancestor Jacob? Jesus continues, what I can give you will fill that thirst in you forever. She replies, all right, give me this home delivery water program of yours, mister. Is this a joke, or are you serious? And here they're getting closer to truly seeing and communicating with one another. Jesus pushes on, go get your husband. Now she starts to really pay attention to this stranger. We don't know what happened to her 5 husbands. The story doesn't tell. Or why she's living with a man now that is not her husband. The story doesn't tell. Yet, I think we can guess that something was missing in her life. Now, she wanted it, but didn't want to admit it, didn't want to say it out loud. She feared that she could not get what she really wanted. And now all she wanted to do was fill up her bucket and go home. So please, mister, don't play games with me. Life has disappointed me enough. She had lowered her expectations to 0. She won't be disappointed or fooled again. Jesus wanted to open that strong, locked door she put up to keep herself feeling safe. Well, I'm just going to say it because this language in this story is so delightfully provocative, flirtatious. And I'm going to say, well, Jesus just wanted to be the man of her dreams. Many of us at one time or another want something. Secretly, we may be afraid of getting it because it will change us. We settle for what we have now. We want to change, but not right now. We want to take a risk, but not right now. We want to know that we can be better, happier, but maybe not right now. Maybe someday. Maybe tomorrow. Or maybe never. Remember that most of us do not regret risks that we take. And when we get close to the end of our days, what we truly regret are the risks we did not take. She says, now that they're deep into this conversation that Jesus has been pulling her into about religion, she says, the Messiah will come. When the Messiah comes, we will understand every truth, and all our hopes and dreams will come true. Look at how far she has come in this story, in this conversation with Jesus. She's no longer afraid or arguing. She now wants to know, who is this stranger? And here at the end of the story is where the verbs change from future to present. For Jesus tells her, the Messiah is here. I am he, the one who is speaking to you. Jesus lives, my friends. He walks our towns. He sits at our tables. He whispers in our ears. And we have Jesus moments when we sit and talk and truly, deeply listen to one another. When fear fades, when competition to be the one to get his or her view over, when all of that settles down and we really look at each other and listen to one another, there's a third person there, and it's Jesus. When we remember the truth that to be happy in this life, the way to find that happiness is to help someone else be happy. It can happen at a crossroads, over a shared drink of water. Who is thirsty and who has a bucket? Let's work together. It can happen anywhere at any time. The point is to be ready when it does. See, I think you can get what you really want after all, if it's the right thing to want in the first place. We all want to be known and loved and useful, to be helpful to someone else. And that, I believe, is what Jesus does for us. He knows us, he loves us, and he shows us the way to help one another. And if that is what we want, all of us, to be known, loved, and helpful, then we can get what we want. We just have to have a little faith. Or in the words of those great 20th century theologians, John, Paul, Ringo, and George. You get by with a little help from your friends.